Before you commit to some massive $1,300 cold plunge, you need to know if you're actually going to like it and if you'll be using it a month from now. The problem though with most budget ice baths is that they are cheap and simply won't fit the average sized male. But do I have the solution in my hands for you big XL dudes? The No Fake channel, checking in. Jonathan here with the Glagoss Cold Plunge, 126 gallon behemoth, but it only has a price tag of $70 with free shipping. Now, if you go on to the Amazon and you type in cold plunges, you are gonna find about 3,000 ice baths that look almost exactly like this design. And I have tried a few of those, and unfortunately, I got stuck. And I will tell you that for most of the cheaper ice baths that have this design, you are gonna find yourself not being able to actually fit. This is an XL version, 126 gallons, meaning it very well may be the top contender for the best budget ice bath of the year. Now, my previous favorite budget ice bath was the Rubbermaid water trough. It was literally a trough, a big massive plastic container used to feed livestock. It originally had come in at $100, but because of the popularity of ice baths, it has now gone up to $130. And unlike something like this design, it is heavy and difficult to maneuver when you aren't using it.
Dad!
What?
What is the difference between this and some knockoff normal ice bath?
Okay, glad you asked, Tyler. So the difference with the Glagoss is that it is big, 126 gallons. Typically designs like this come in at about 80 gallons, and they are extremely small. Also, the price point. Now, it starts off at $100 on Amazon, but as you know, with everything on Amazon, there are tons of coupons. Currently, it is being sold for $70 with free shipping. Also, another problem with budget ice baths is that there's zero insulation. And in the wintertime, that's not a big deal. But in the summertime, it makes it that much more difficult to keep the water cold. Glagoss uses a layer of insulation to help keep that cold in and the heat out. Another thing that they do, which is a step further, is the materials. As you can imagine, you really don't want to be sitting around a whole bunch of plastic. It's not good for the skin. They purposely use materials that are non-toxic throughout the entire design. Another key feature with the Glagoss over many other cold plunge designs is that it is portable. Now, it sets up very quickly in only 10 minutes, so you can take this down and move it. You could take it with you camping, or if you're just done using it for the season, you could simply dry it off and stow it away. What's the difference between this and just a generic trash can? And that is ease of access. To get into a massive trash can, you've got to step up and in, and then getting out is going to be a whole different ball of wax. As far as this, it is easy to just step in and step out. And on top of it, as far as draining is concerned, this has not one, but two plugs. One on the bottom if you just want this thing to empty out on the spot that you're on, but it also has an extension cord that you can connect to the drain on the side in order to make sure that you deviate the water to a safe location. What temperature should you get your ice bath to in order to get all of the great benefits that come along with an ice bath? And the reality is it will depend on your preference as well as how accustomed you are to the ice bath. Many people, unfortunately, believe that they need to get it right around freezing, but that is not the reality. That is not the truth. If you get it too close to freezing, you're going to find not only can you not stay in that long, but the ice itself is going to create ice burns on your skin. Now, most people find benefits between 50 and 60 degree temperature. Just as a reference, if you use the hose, you're going to find that the water temperature should be around 60 to 65 degrees, depending on if you have city or well water. I personally have found that I get the most benefit and I enjoy it the most when it's between 40 and 50 degrees, so it's on the rather cool side of things. How often do you have to change out the water on an ice bath? Because as you can imagine, it's just going to take too long of a period of time if you have to fill this up every time you want to use it and then subsequently drain it. The truth is, with something like this, you can go 3 or maybe even 4 weeks depending on how often you use it and how you get into it. If you're just jumping in after your workout, which we'll talk about why you shouldn't do that, you're going to want to change this out every 2 weeks because the sweat from your body is going to get into the water. Me, I go between 3 and 4 weeks because I'm rather lazy, and I typically use Epsom salt in my ice baths. That salt is not only good for your skin, but it will keep some of the impurities, some of the issues that come with stagnant water out. The other thing you can make sure that you are doing is covering the top, so you're not going to be getting bugs, leaves, and debris in here. So how should you get your ice bath cold? And there are a number of ways to skin that cat. Probably the easiest way is going to simply be to make ice in your freezer if you have the space. Unfortunately, something like this is going to take 15 to 20 pounds of ice in order to get the temperature down to where you want it. You want to dump it all in? The second way to get this ice bath cold is going to be simply to buy ice at your local gas station or grocery store. As you can imagine, that will get expensive over time, but since this is something that is a luxury, it's not necessarily going to be a deal breaker. It's just something that kind of comes with the territory. I will say the third option would be to connect a cooler to your ice bath or cold plunge. That is usually the preferred option for people who are really have gone down the rabbit hole of cold plunges, but that is very expensive because you've got to run that cooler almost 24 hours a day. I need everybody's attention, please. I have a shocking announcement to make. Cannonball!
I'm kind of a big deal.
So as you can see, I can fit in here up to my shoulders, and I am 6'1", 190 pounds, and we've got room for my crazy daughter. As far as dunking your head in this, it's still gonna be a bit too difficult to dunk your head in, but the nice part about this ice bath is that you still have a lot of room to get in and get out. Some of the other ones I've had in here, my knees were literally up against my chest and I almost felt like I was going to get stuck. How long should you stay in an ice bath? And the research shows that around 10 minutes per week is the beneficial time period, and of course you can stay in longer if you want. For me, I typically try to shoot for about 10 to 12 minutes, going 3 minutes at a time. In the winter time, I tend to go a little bit shorter just because the water is absolutely so cold. But in the summertime, I will stay a little bit longer just because it takes a little bit more time to actually get my body to feel cold in the water. As far as the water level, I probably should have given it another 2 or 3 minutes on the hose, but it's ultimately gonna be perfect. If the water level had been a little bit higher, the water would have came up even higher up to my neck. And then if I really wanted to, I could dip my head under, but it's unlikely that you're gonna wanna dip your head under if you're a taller individual.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
So what are the benefits of an ice bath, right? Is it just a crazy cult-like following? Is it just the latest and greatest shake weight? The truth is, a lot of people think the benefits are for recovery, and research has shown that icing an injury or even icing after a workout doesn't necessarily improve recovery. It will help reduce inflammation temporarily, but you don't want to be jumping in here after you work out or train. Reason being is the coldness will actually negate a lot of the benefits your body gets from going through difficult training.
That go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
The major benefit for an ice bath, at least for me personally, has to be mood enhancement. I'm usually very, very happy after I get out of here. It kind of releases those endorphins, that shock to the system, and it just leaves me with a very wide grin, feeling happy and feeling excited for the next 2 to 3 hours. Is the Glagoss Cold Plunge the best budget ice bath you can get? And the reality is, if you are new to ice baths, you probably want to try to take cold showers. It's not going to be the same exact thing, but you want to make sure that you can handle a cold shower and that you frankly find it beneficial or enjoyable before you commit to something like this. But as far as budget ice baths go, I would definitely recommend going with something on the cheaper side to get yourself started. At $70, this is a great way to dip your toe in, pardon the pun, into cold plunges. Next up from this, I would say, would be to go with the water trough from Rubbermaid. The only problem with that is you've got to figure out how to cover it in order to keep the bugs and leaves and everything else out of it.
But did you die?
Overall, though, you can get pretty expensive cold plunges and ice baths at a blink of an eye. And while those are going to be fantastic and they'll work excellent, you want to make sure it's going to be something you're actually going to use. Whereas if you buy this for $70 and in a month you realize maybe it's not for you, you can actually pack it up, store it, and maybe try it out a few months later, or just see if you're not necessarily committed financially to a massive purchase price. Let me know in the comments below, do you think cold plunges are just a massive fad, or do you think there's great benefits from dipping your body into ice cold water on a regular basis for no good reason other than they ends in Y?
Did we just become best friends?
Yup!
Thanks for watching. If you want to help support the channel, besides the links in the description, simply watch another video. As usual, thanks for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back.